Greetings, my darkly devoted. It is I, Kregon, your weaver of nightmares and painter with the cosmos' bleakest hues. For in the tapestry of horror we're about to unfurl, no silken thread shall lie benign. We unravel the very yarns that make the universe tremble. Pay heed as we delve into the gnarled roots of our macabre tale. In the epochs beyond recorded time, when Earth was but a swirling maelstrom and sky seldom broke its mournful cry, they came forth. 4 immortals, wrought not of flesh, but the chiseled midnight of oblivion's heart. Their names are lost to the howling eternities, for to speak them would summon forth the gaping cavities of existence, bursting with unnameable horrors. Their genesis was the product of cosmic indifference, an unthinking churn of the void's belly that spewed forth these undying sentinels. They held dominion over that which puzzles even the most unhinged scholarly minds, the very quintessence of life and decay. Their kingdom was devoid of subjects, other than the roiling chaos at the fringes of creation. From silence woven thick as pitch, they watched the first flickers of humanity's flame, so fragile and fleeting. Part 1. A world built on shrieking bones and the dark skies of immortal wounds. Fast forward our sights past millennia like fleeting nightmares, to when the Crusades were not so much the clashing of faiths but a shared pilgrimage to suffering. Over 200 years, the ground became glutted with the bones of the misguided, each an offering to the ravenous immortals who supped upon the terror seeping from the world's cracked facade. The discovery of the Americas was not by wayward travelers on wooden vessels, but by blood-soaked seekers of the grotesque, drawn like moths to the flames licking the skirts of the New World. They did find not lands laden with milk and honey, but a horizon gashed open, revealing the writhing innards of the cosmos. An unholy murmur beckoned them, voices that weren't voices, in languages that curdled the very marrow within their bones. Yet, humanity's hubris burgeoned grotesquely, as time, like flesh peeling from the old gods' carcasses, revealed the true prize. The burgeoning tension of a space race poised to tear free from the Earth's ensnaring grasp. As the First Great War drew to a sepulchral close, the victors etched out dominions with lines as frail as a spider's thread. The Eurasian Empire, a lumbering monstrosity birthed from the unholy womb of warfare's end, now loomed over the broken spine of the old world with their anti-gravity machinations lifted from the enigmatic lore of the Third Reich's twisted geniuses. Meanwhile, the American Union, splintered from internal strife, arose armed to its jagged teeth, untouched by the unhallowed conflict that had engulfed the globe, but marred by its own gory split, a self-inflicted wound deep as any the world had seen. The 4 shadows, the immortals, now mere whispers on the tongues of cultists and madmen, drank deeply of this post-war ichor, their invisible hands stirring the boiling cauldron that was the human endeavor. As the twin powers, the Eurasian Fiend and the steel-clad Union, teetered on the brink of mutual annihilation, the cosmos watched with an interest that bordered on the obscene. For in their hubris-driven climb, humanity was but penitence for the sin of existence, the waking god that slept in the starless abyss. In the unyielding void that swathes the cruel expanse of space, a vessel, a beast of steel and smoke, cut through the cosmic silence. Aboard the star mourners, those mortals crafted anew for the singular purpose of traversing between the desolation of worlds. At the helm the last, known to these weary travelers by a name their tongues dared not utter, for it was inscribed in the fabric of nightmares. They simply referred to their silent overseer as the Keeper. The great craft, baptized as the Void Lament, deployed its vast fractured wings, harvesting the faintest whispers of ancient sunlight. In the depths of the Keeper's unblinking gaze, the crew of Star Mourners worked their stations, unknowing that each touch upon their instruments echoed a chilling melody unto oblivion. The darkness of space swallowed all save for the moon, a deranged sentinel waltzing through the void. Her cratered visage basked in the ire of the blood-red sun. She cast a lurid gaze upon the shrouded earth, a beacon of morose light to guide the lament's wayward path. As the crew beheld their planet, now a sanguine orb, the earth wept soft rays of pale red light, muted and forlorn, like the dimming eye of a once magnificent creature laid low by time's cruel infliction. It was amidst this melancholic vigil a shadow heralded disaster. The ship's innards, veins of copper and wire, began to atrophy, their mechanical lifeblood seeping into the vacuum as systems faltered. Serpentine alarms hissed a discordant chorus, their pulse racing with the anxious heartbeats of those encased within the dying behemoth. The last stood still as the Star Mourners scrambled, their minds frantically clawing for a reprieve from this celestial hearse. And yet, the Keeper remained serene, a statue amongst the chaos, for they alone sensed another presence, a sentience vast and inscrutable, the sleeping God, entombed in the interstitial spaces between breath and void, stirred, its myriad eyes pearls in the flesh of reality, writhed to fix upon the hapless craft that dared to hover above the weeping terra firma. The gaze, unyielding and omnipresent, fell upon the void lament with an intensity that sang hymns of madness into the bones of the vessel. In this confluence of events, the lament became an unwitting congregation, their mortal essence piercing the veil that kept the cosmos benignly indifferent. The presence of the lament near the accursed moon, the pulsing of its dying systems, was a morse of frail desperation, an invocation to that which slumbered in the dark recesses of creation. Now the crew, the Star Mourners, must navigate this unforeseen landscape where matter and void entwine, and the line between life and the infinite sleep is but a gossamer thread. With the Keeper as their silent sentinel, they stand against the malevolent vigil of a god whose dreams weave the substance of their reality, and whose awakening might herald an end most grotesque and sublime. The journey into the Umbral Sea persists, the tale untethered, stretching into the horizon of eons. The void lament, its gleaming hull now marred with scars of celestial strife, tumbles towards terra firma. Its descent is a controlled plummet orchestrated by the hands of fate. Inside, the Star Mourners buckle, the once relentless vessel now at the mercy of the planet's grip. The Keeper, though immortal, casts a stoic figure against the brewing cataclysm. In the monstrous silence of space, the sleeping god conducts a loathsome ballet. It unravels itself, a grotesquerie of flesh cascading into the cosmos. Sinuous tendrils slick with celestial afterbirth extend like gruesome petals seeking the warmth of the dying craft. Each motion, a perverse mimicry of life, bristles with eyes that burst forth, shedding their viscous tears into the void. These nascent eyes, tethered to the abhorrent host, multiply and swell. They trace the lament's fall like vile spectators, a procession of monstrous spawn eager to witness the final act of a tragedy foretold. The Keeper watches, the only one amongst the immortal Star Mourners to withstand the hellscape that blooms outside. Skin peels and regenerates, an endless cycle of searing agony and fleeting recovery. His screams lace the cabin, a symphony of suffering as he is immolated by the inferno that once bore him through the stars. Aside, his companions do not share his cruel gift of endless life. Their mortal coils succumb without reprieve. Their bodies char, ignite, and evaporate. A pair of fleeting candles snuffed by a wrathful dawn. And through it all, the celestial offspring hover aloft, detached yet intent observers. Their innumerable eyes upon the transaction of oblivion, bearing silent vigil as the ship, a pyre of dreams and despair, succumbs to the embrace of terra firma. The lament crashes. Fire births fire, and from the ruin of a once proud vessel, only the keeper emerges, his flesh weeping smoke, his eternal curse his only companion. The celestial progeny look on, their gaze unmoved by the devastation, their presence a constant beneath the blood-red sun. The tale unfolds into agony and ash, leaving a horizon blistered by the memory of the descent. A world waiting to swallow the remnants of the star mourners. The Keeper's torment tethers him to the cruelties of existence. Even as the sleeping god's children retreat into the heavens, their vigil concluded. The air above Eurasia is electrified with panic as the monstrous offspring of the sleeping god descend, their nightmarish forms casting shadows over the landscape. The American Union, its technology unparalleled, tracks the ghastly trail of the celestial spawn with fevered urgency, only to lose signal as the creatures drift over the vast Antinubian ocean. Twitching radars speak in desperate bleeps, confirming the international dread. Beneath the waves, Eurasian submarines glide like specters, their periscopes piercing the surface to relay images of the chaos that churns above. Crewmen exchange anxious glances, their understanding of war contradicted by the events unfolding in the frantic skies. Far from the churning sea, amidst the wreckage of the void lament, the immortal emerges, a solitary figure against the backdrop of disaster. His flesh defies the laws of nature, wounds knitting together with uncanny precision. Before the eyes of the gathered scientists, muscle and sinew reform, bones sprout anew from torn stumps, a horrifying spectacle of regeneration. The revelation sweeps through the battered lands with the force of prophecy fulfilled. The immortal, foretold harbinger, steps into the role written eons before. Even the Führer, leader of the Fifth Reich, submits to that which is destined, bending knee to the creature born of stars and pain. Berlin is awash with terror as the progeny loom overhead. The siren's wail is a clarion call, once meant to warn of bombs and blazes, now heralding the assault of gods. The city's defenders, bewildered by the presence of divinity, unleash their aerial armada. Jets, refitted with engines that roar defiance, slice the heavens, breaching the sound barrier in futile bravado. The offspring watch, unmoved by the scramble of metal birds. Their purpose unfathomable, they remain as fixed points in the ever-changing tapestry of conflict. Below them, the people of Eurasia mistake divine scrutiny for the hostile glare of the American Union, and the world braces for a battle born from the deepest pits of misunderstanding. The immortal stands, a locus of awe and fear, the only certainty in a world hurtling towards madness. The foster children of the sleeping god spread their influence like a contagion, unseen and untraceable, heralding an age none can escape. The saga continues, its trajectory as unpredictable as the flight of deities on the wing. Machinations turn, borders tremble, and the immortal gazes upon the chaos he precedes, an eternal witness to the unfolding of prophesied doom. The air is thick with the stench of imminent war as the Eurasians, their nerves frayed to breaking, unleash a hellish barrage upon the eastern seaboard of the American Union. The Void's children, those ghastly offspring of the sleeping god, hover unfazed as defenses falter below them. Each missile launched in desperate hope does nothing but provoke, invigorating the celestial progeny as it swells and bursts, strewing its viscera across the skies like perverse confetti. Berlin trembles, its fabled strength shaken to the core by the rain of gore that cascades from the heavens. Monstrous chunks of otherworldly flesh plummet, shattering the illusion of safety, the promise of untouchable power that the city once held dear. The people cower, the Führer, lost in the tumult, is blindsided by this most grotesque of omens. Amid the turmoil, the immortal stands, his body a tapestry of recovered vigor, nude and unashamed beneath the celestial carnage, eyes lifted skyward. He begins to radiate an ethereal light, a beacon of both wonder and warning as the symphony of conflict crescendos around him. The clamor of war drums draws nearer, suffused with the bass tone of dread. A Eurasian commander streaks across the battered terrain, his vehicle kicking up the ash of desperation. He leaps out mid-stride, sprinting, barking the words that incite frenzy. We're under attack. Bunkers fling open, revealing the glittering jaws of the American Union's might. The retaliation brews, a terrifying concoction of lead, flame, and bloodlust, ready to paint the sky in shades of vengeance. The moment precariously hangs, a pause pregnant with violence soon to be birthed upon the world. It's about to get bloody, a crimson tide that will wash over nations, a torrent that no prayer can stanch. The immortal's glow intensifies, a silent challenge to the gods, an anchor to the battlefield that the earth has become. The war of wars erupts in earnest, no side innocent, no combatant untouched by the affliction of rage. The world trembles under the vast shadow of the old god, its unfathomable form a blasphemy against the cosmos. As it pushes its girth between the moon and earth, its tentacles, monstrous appendages thick as cities and long as ley lines, grope the inky void, ushering in a perverse bridge from nightmare to reality. Their surfaces are a sickening display of gaping pores, tropophobia's absolute muse, as they pulse with the rhythms of alien life, a grotesque parody of vascular fervor. Beneath this horror-soaked sky, terra firma convulses, its very bones rattled by the insidious vibrato of the old god's presence. A ghastly glow bleeds from the being, seeping through the roiling clouds overhead, tinging everything in a wash of haunting crimson. As this other planar aurora dances across the world, it both illuminates and corrupts. Every beam a carrier of madness. The offspring descend, pitiless deities of ravenous hunger, parting the skylines with an ease that belies their gargantuan depravity. Their countless mouths lined with rippling rings of serrated teeth, open in a symphony of silent screams, swallowing whole whatever dared exist within their reach. Humanity is but carrion, the world their charnel house. The immortal, frozen amidst the apocalypse, his mind a chalice overflowing with the eldritch memories of a time sans time, recoils at the remembrance of the universe's vile gestation. He is both spectator and relic of the eons, a sinew-stitched chronicle of infinity's most eldritch chapters. Then there's movement, a twitch of belligerent life against the deathly stillness. Muscle and sinew coil beneath his ageless skin as resolution forges chains around creeping fear. The immortal lunges forward, his body a blurring comet of vengeful intent, a singular rebellion against the devouring tide. His fists, instruments of undying wrath, smash into the abominable flesh of the old god scions with the force of collapsing stars. Each blow leaves aberrant cavities, transient pockets of defiance in the enemy's relentless bulk. Yet, for every monstrosity felled, a dozen more worm their way through the rifts in the cosmos, their voracity unsated, endless. As he weaves through the battlefield, his form a relentless engine of destruction, the legacy of his eternal war piles around him. Fountains of inky blood, piles of mutilated, uncertain flesh that heave in the macabre spectacle of unwanted resurrection. He fights not just the tangible chaos before him, but the very history of his being, the echoes of atrocities witnessed and wrought. And above, as though in mocking celebration of this tragedy, the old god looms like a behemoth poised over an anthill, its countless eyes staring, unblinking, into the despair it has birthed. The oceans, once cradles of life, now churn with viscous crimson, a mingling of liquid horrors too loathsome for mortal comprehension. Transformed by eldritch infection, the rivers follow suit, their serpentine paths now veins of the planet, pumping Icarus blood between blighted shores. The sky writhes under a cloak of smoke, thick and choking. Yet, even in this obscuration, the countless eyes of the sleeping god shine through, a grotesque mirror of sunbeams. Disparate points of unholy luminescence puncture the gloom, each a bastion of malevolent wakefulness against the darkened rack of the heavens. The descent of the sleeping god heralds the cessation of hope. Battlements of reality crumble and falter as its unfathomable mass invades the once sacred boundary of Earth's atmosphere. It tears through the firmament with ruinous disdain for the delicate membrane that divides space from the sphere of humanity's domain. Every man, woman, and child, every creature that draws breath or ever dare dream, they reckon with the absolute certainty of oblivion. Whispers shared between doomed souls, no promise of tomorrow or felicitous end. The narrative of their existence is stripped of climactic salvation. It is a stark and unyielding truth. This is the terminus of all stories. And as the final chapter silently closes, Earth succumbs to incomprehensible violence. The celestial body that once was the moon succumbs to the call of gravitation's last dance, drawn to an embrace with the planet it had so long accompanied. The collision is a silent testament to the annihilation of what once was revered as terra firma, as both celestial and terrestrial are reduced to mere cinders in the void. Left to reign over the void is the sleeping god, a tremendous, terrible squid of celestial proportion, indifferent in its victory. Millions of soulless eyes in different globes reflecting no triumph. Only the vast emptiness of a universe now deprived of the terror it once cradled. Eons of terror solidified into a singular entity, floating amidst the debris of existence, an abiding sentinel of the unending dark.
As I wait from the deathless spirit, like the voice, but living on me.